In some of the world's most dangerous jobs, the things you can see, like heavy machinery or great heights, aren't always the biggest threat. So today, we're going to pull back the curtain on how these industries build safety systems to protect their people, not just from the obvious stuff, but from the invisible dangers too. Think about it. It's pretty easy to tell someone to wear a hard hat, right? But how do you protect a worker from the crippling exhaustion that comes after a sleepless night, or from the distraction of serious stress at home? These are the invisible risks, and frankly, tackling them requires a whole different level of thinking about safety.
So, the entire safety system we're about to dive into is built on this one single idea. It's called fitness for work, and it is absolutely the key to understanding how this whole protective structure actually operates.
Now, pay close attention to this definition. Fitness for work isn't just about being physically healthy. See that? It specifically calls out a person's mental and emotional state. And that is so critical because it's an admission that safety isn't just about strength. It's about a whole bunch of factors all working together. I mean, look at this list. The scope is just huge. We're talking about everything from a sprained ankle to the psychological weight of a personal crisis. The system is designed to think about the whole person, not just the worker. Because any safety system that ignores these things, well, it's got massive, massive blind spots.
So where do you even start trying to build something this comprehensive? Well, you begin by focusing all your energy where it matters most, on those critical moments where one tiny mistake could be catastrophic.
Let's be real. Not every task has the same level of risk, so you can't just apply one blanket rule to everything. The very first step is to identify the specific jobs that have zero margin for error. These are what get labeled safety-critical activities.
And these examples really give you a feel for the kind of stakes we're talking about. This isn't your average office job. Every single one of these activities has the potential for serious injury or worse. Pinpointing them is the absolute foundation for everything that comes next. Okay, once you've identified your biggest risks, the next step is to actually start engineering the workday to control for them. This is about moving past just hoping people stay safe and creating a structured environment where safety is the default. Let's see how they do it. To really see these controls in action, let's zoom in on one of the toughest invisible risks out there: fatigue. It's so hard to manage because you can't really measure it easily. So how do you build a system to control for it? The answer is a structured, totally proactive process. It starts by analyzing work schedules. Then it sets hard limits on how many hours someone can work. It pays extra attention to tricky times, like night shifts, to make sure people get enough time to recover. See, this isn't about reacting to someone being tired. It's a system designed to prevent it from happening in the first place.
And this whole approach is backed by science. The system actually takes our circadian rhythms, our internal body clocks, into account. It manages schedules to avoid those times when we're biologically programmed to be sleepy. It's a perfect example of working with our biology, not fighting it.
The system also goes beyond just personal factors and looks at the environment too. For instance, there are specific rules for managing thermal stress, making sure that extreme heat doesn't cloud someone's judgment and lead to a critical mistake. And of course, there are layers of control for substances. The program includes things like random testing and testing after an incident to make sure that impairment from alcohol or drugs just isn't a factor in these high-stakes jobs.
But look, a system is only as good as the people who are a part of it. And that's why this next piece of the puzzle is so incredibly important. We're going to shift our focus now to the individual's role and the support structure that's built to empower them.
This quote, taken right from the safety standard, is pretty much the entire philosophy in a nutshell. It establishes this core principle of personal responsibility. Every single person has to check in with themselves before they start a dangerous task. It creates this culture where everyone owns a piece of the safety puzzle.
So what happens if someone actually raises their hand and says they aren't fit for work? This is where the system's design is just brilliant. It's not punitive, it's supportive. When an employee speaks up, a process kicks in to get them help, maybe change their duties for a bit, and even start a rehab program. It's a safety net designed to encourage honesty.
And to empower people to actually make that call for themselves, the company provides a ton of training. We're not just talking about rule books here, they're giving people real tools to manage their own health, their own stress, and their own fatigue. It's proactive education, plain and simple.
All right, finally, for this entire thing to actually work, it has to be held up by a clear chain of accountability. Because without clear ownership, A safety system is just a bunch of paper collecting dust on a shelf.
And this structure makes that accountability totally explicit. It lays out exactly who does what, from the team that updates the document regularly to the execs who sign off on it. But crucially, look at the bottom line. It extends all the way down to every single employee whose job is to comply. It makes it crystal clear that safety is everybody's job.
So when you step back and look at everything we just went through, it becomes obvious that this isn't just a set of rules. It's a dynamic, living system. It weaves together risk identification, smart work design, human support, and clear accountability. It's a unified strategy for protecting people from dangers you can see and the ones you can't.
This whole structure really is a blueprint for prevention. And it leaves us with one final, pretty sobering question to think about. When a system this carefully designed is ignored, what is the ultimate human cost?